So Namaskar, Namaste. This is your Papan Bhai CMA H Padmanabhan, Council Member, Chairman, Committee for Accounting Technicians. So amidst us we have the presence of our Honorable President of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, CMA Bisru Basu sir, Honorable Vice President P. Raju Iyer sir, Chairman Corporate Laws Committee, CMA Dr. Ashish P. Tattebai, and our own resource person, none other than our brother Dr. GKR, Gopalakrishna Raju sir. Yes, we are expecting the chief guest at any time due to some medical emergency. He is attending a very important call. So we are starting the program. The chief guest we planned was the CFO and the company secretary, who is a triplet, CA, CMA and CS. Jay Prakash sir, anytime he can come, but our still, since the time has crossed 12, this thing, we will start the program. I request Pardeep Bhai, Deputy Director of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, to kindly play the Institute anthem and commence the program, please.
सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति.
So we all pray for your good health and welfare, and straight away going into the program, our own Honorable Chairman of the Corporate Laws Committee, CMA Dr. Ashish P. Tattebai is very much here. I request him to kindly unmute the mic and welcome all of us on the wonderful topic in days 1 or 2 share payment. Please go ahead, Ashish Tattebai.
Yes, so good afternoon.
Share-based payment, yes.
Yeah, yes. So good afternoon to all of you. We are, of course, going on the series of webinars on Ind AS. And Ind AS is, of course, as you know, a part of the Companies Act 2013 and mandated by Companies Act 2013 to have the Ind AS in place. So besides that, I must inform all the members that we are also planning to have a few more webinar series for our members on various topics like directors' remuneration, attendance, meeting, etc. So that we have more knowledge about the corporate laws. And on behalf of my committee and also having joined hands with the CAT committee, whose members are also wants to improve themselves, keep on improving their knowledge. So for all these two members, we are always there for you. And besides that, the corporate law committee also wants to start with some of the valuation or insolvency related programs, because they also falls under the Companies Act. There are necessary sections in the Companies Act to start with the same. So our committee is very active this year, and definitely we will get a lot of knowledge about the Companies Act as well as so many other acts which are falling under corporate laws. And one of that is, of course, Ind AS. And I'm very happy today that we have our own very good speaker, GKR, popularly known as GKR sir, who has been speaker for so many days. I have also attended his many lectures in the past, and today also I am happy to be that he is a part of corporate law committee program as a speaker. So thank you so much, GKR sir. Our chief guest may join us at any given point in time, as said by Padmanabhan sir. And I missed out on our president and vice president. They both are here. So welcome to both of them as well. It is my humble privilege that both of them will definitely update all our members about the institute activities. So thank you so much. Back to you, Papan bhai.
Thank you so much, Ashish Bhai. Yes, you have given a very clear this thing schedule for the future. Rest assured, the corporate class committee is going in a right direction. For the first time, it is very active, and it will be more and more active in the days to come, months to come, and year to come. So we welcome Ashish Bhai and myself. We welcome you, Honorable Vice President CMAP Raju Iyer sir, to kindly address as Honorable Vice President of the Institute. Over
Thank
to
you
you,
very much.
Raju Iyer sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good day, respected our Honorable President CMA Visurup Basujar and our Chairman for Management Accounting Committee Assistate and CAT Committee Chairman CMA H. Patmanaban and our eminent speaker and well known to everyone Gopalakrishna Raju, popularly known as GK Raju, and who is well known figure in this, and in the absence of our chief guest Jayaprakash Kalapan, who is well known to me and as a company secretary, and he has participated in a lot of events. The topic is excellent and topic is very good. And as Assistate has said, and he is reviving management committee, which was, again, activating this so that it will be very good and he'll be able to perform very well.
Corporate Law Committee.
Corporate Law Committee, listen, Corporate Law Committee, and it will be activated and it will be doing a lot of programs, as he said, director remuneration, so many things which will be adding sharehold. And we have to add knowledge, learn and unlearn and relearn, then only we'll be able to update. Always you have to update ourselves, then only we'll be able to sustain in the professional and all the issues. In fact, unless we know what is a faceless assessment, we'll not be able to today pay the income tax or whatever it is. So updating and upgrading is very much essential, which our institute is definitely very much doing it. Because as the topic is very important and it will be taking a lot of time, I request our president to address and then CMA GKR to take over so that we'll be very happy to listen from him. Thank you very much. Thank you. Over to Patmanaban. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raju Iyer sir. Very nicely you told learn, unlearn and relearn. Fantastic usage you have told. That is what is required. And we are telling always the students to update. At young age, they should inculcate the habit of updating. And now let us have the privilege of listening to our Visurup Dada. Normally, in any topic, he gives a clear idea about the topic also. Visurup Dada, if you can kindly unmute your mic and address all of us as President of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India.
A very good afternoon to all of you, respected CMAP Raju Iyer, Vice President of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, respected CMA Balvinder Singh, former President of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India in absentia, respected CMA H. Padmanaban, Chairman CAT Committee of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, my beloved colleague in the Central Council, CMA Dr. Ashish Prakash Thake, Chairman Corporate Laws Committee, my beloved professional brothers and sisters, my colleagues in the regional council chapters, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to be present here today. I must appreciate the great endeavor taken by our Honorable H. Padmanaban organizing and Dr. Ashish Prakash in organizing series of seminars on virtual mode on a continuous basis. Knowledge embraces three things: courage, righteousness, and creativity. Excellence is not a destination; it is a continuous journey that never ends. I am personally thankful to all of you for the great endeavor you are taking to update our knowledge. Yes, knowledge needs to be updated on a continuous basis. I appreciate the great endeavor that you are taking. I also appreciate the presence of Dr. Gopalakrishna Raju, who is a chartered accountant, cost accountant, and a company secretary, and who is also a very good speaker. I wish the said virtual seminar a grand success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Visurup Dada. So nice of you, and for the motivation and the freedom being given to all of us. Like Balvinder sir, you are following the this thing, you are giving all out freedom to us so that we are able to. And our President, Vice President and the Chairman Corporate Law Committee joins me in welcoming you, Gopalakrishna Raju sir, for this wonderful session on Ind AS 102 share-based payment. Rest all time is yours. By any chance, if our chief guest is able to join after, of course, you all know, then in between we'll see, sir. Otherwise, the entire session is yours, sir. Please go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Respected President of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, CMA Biswarup Basuji, and respected Vice President CMA Raju Ayerji, Chairman of Corporate Law Committee CMA Dr. Ashish Tate, and Chairman of CAT Committee CMA H. Padmanabhan, and the host for this India series of program and all the members and friends who have joined online from various parts of the country. A warm good afternoon to one and all. I must thank Institute of Cost Accountants of India for continuously supporting the initiative of knowledge awareness and spreading the purpose of formation of this institute, and especially past 1 year, right from January 2020. Every month we have been doing 4 sessions on Indian accounting standards. So my appreciations to the entire team at the helm of affairs of Institute of Cost Accountants led by the present president. Coming to today's topic, it's one of the, given an opportunity to me, I want to sit that side as an audience and I want to hear this because more every time we try to actually read this, you learn new things. It's like a Tirukkural, which is just a small, less than 2 lines, but you will learn a lot every time you read it and you experience it. This subject is like that, this particular standard is like that. Generally, every standard, for example, if you take a standard like provisions and contingencies, you have a previous accounting standards. But with respect to India is 102 share-based payment, do you have a previous accounting standards? Means no. You only have a guidance note on accounting for employee share-based payment, which have been issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And apart from that, you have a SEBI guidelines and Companies Act section 62(1)(b). So I'll try slowly, I try to actually explain what share-based payment is and how important this particular standard is at the corporate level. Now, let me first take you to the significance of 102. 102 is actually a Spinning number. You know what is a Spinning number? It is a positive integer that is a product of 3 distinct prime numbers. And 102 is a product of 2, 3 and 17. And not only that, 102 is a sum of 4 consecutive prime numbers. I am taking your attention specifically to the word called consecutive. And the word consecutive has a relationship with 102. Generally, employee benefits. There is a service rendered by an employee for which salary is paid. Remuneration. Apart from remuneration, today in corporate sector, if you need to retain them, because today, if an employee is there with us for 12 months, whatever may be, today company secretary, cost accountants are working in a particular company for more than 12 months, we need to actually celebrate by a cake cutting. Now, because the labor, the employee turnover ratio, because being a cost accountant, I'm always having that labor turnover ratio in my mind. Employee turnover ratio is quite alarming and it is increasing. So retaining the talent is the biggest challenge, and that is where share-based payment concept has been brought. Now, what is share-based payment? Consecutively you work with us, you be with us, you be with our company for the next 2 years, next 3 years. We will allot you equity shares. You become owner. Maybe there are millions of shares. I'll give you 1%, I'll give you 0.1% share. Wow. So, moment I am, it is actually like an incentive. These kind of moments actually give a satisfaction. Oh wow, I am also a owner of this particular company, of this large company. So that is where this concept of share-based payments, share-based. So I will allot the shares to them. Now this seems to be very simple. Seems to be very, very simple. Now, slow and steady, I'll try to actually add mirchi masala to the share-based payment. Rather than allotting shares, I will say, no, I will not allot you free shares. I will not allot you free shares. You have to pay for it. Oh, if I have to pay for it, then why should I work in this company and then slog in this company for the next 3 consecutive years? I will go to the market and buy. So there they say, don't worry. In market, the fair value, in market, market price, okay, the fair value, market price, both are, I'm going to explain. Market price, whatever is there, let it be. It is going to be very high, but we are going to give you at a price. That price we are going to decide today. Today's market price is 150 rupees. We will allot you at 110 rupees. We will allot you at 90 rupees. But 3 years later, the price will be still more. But it can be even 200 or 220, but you have to buy only at 90 rupees. Concept is ESOP, employee stock options. Stock options. Now, if I have 90 rupees, I will pay 90 to my company, get allotment. But 90 and my market price, the difference is my appreciation. There are some other method. What do you call it as share appreciation rights? Share appreciation, no, I will not pay. I will work with you. I will give my full effort. I will push the share price. And because of the team, because of the employees, the share price have gone up. So whatever the share price have gone up, on that appreciation, you give us a share. You give us. So we have a right on the share appreciation because we are working for the company. So a very interesting model is this, the consecutive. So 102 means consecutive. So that is why I have taken this PNIC number for you to actually give a connect. Now this is my point number 1, PNIC's number. Next point what I'm going to share with you is this standard has only 52 paras. The standard has only 52 paras, not more than that. But this 52 paras, I want to share with you when the standard came in 2015. I repeat guys, when this standard was notified in 2015 and then amended in 17th March 2017, because in 2015 when this standard was introduced, applicable from the April 15 onwards, there was a transitionary provisions also. There was a transition provision which is from para number 53 to 62. Okay, so there were some additional 10 paras, which 10 paras are not there. So now it is only 52 paras. Now I want to connect with you another one more section in Companies Act and also SEBI guideline. Now this is the SEBI guideline you have with respect to share-based employee benefits regulation 2014. It was dated 28th October 2014 and the recent amendment was on 17th April 2020. Now I'll be taking few definitions, 1 or 2 definitions. For example, there is a definition called stock appreciation rights. There is a para number 31 of Ind AS 102 which deals with share appreciation rights, but the definition of stock appreciation rights is only in share-based employee benefits. So the share-based employee benefits regulation is also equally applicable for understanding Ind AS 102. Now I want to make one observation to all of you here. Further issue of share capital. That means 62(1)(b) of the Companies Act speaks about further issue of share capital to employees under a scheme of ESOP will be subject to special resolution. This is only for a public limited company. For a private limited company, there is no special resolution. It is only ordinary resolution and subject to such condition as may be prescribed. Good. Now this is one section you need to get connected with, and regulation of SEBI also you need to get connected with, and guidance note on accounting for employee share-based payments also need to be connected with. So those of the company to whom 102 is applicable, India's 102 is applicable, they will not follow guidance note on accounting for employee share-based payments issued by ICAI, for your kind information. SEBI guidelines is applicable for every company who is actually coming under the, what do you call it, as the company which is going to allot all listed companies. I repeat, all listed companies who are allotting, what do you call it, as stock appreciation rights, what is called as ESOP, they all will come under, they have to follow the SEBI share-based employee benefits regulation, which is with respect to the pricing, which is with respect to intimation to the SEBI, all this stuff. Good. So this is the, I will call it as the ecosystem around 102. Around 102. Now I'm jumping into 102. So I have made point number 2 very clear, that it has 52 paras, and I also connected with section 62(1)(b), SEBI guidelines and guidance. So all this stuff is over. Now, before taking you to main point, what is meant by share-based payment? What is share-based payment transaction? What is share-based payments arrangement? What are the types of share-based payments, like equity-based, cash-based? I will explain with examples. I'll try to connect with examples. But before that, I want to share with you this is the entire standard in one snapshot. In one snapshot, I have just given the entire SBP transactions. I will come to this one by one. But before that, I want to share with you the Infosys annual report 2019-20. Infosys annual report 2019-20, page number 269, 270, 271, especially with respect to para number 45. Because para number 44, from para number 44 deals with the disclosures. Para number 40. And especially para number 45, I want to share with you. And what is para number 45A? I will just give this input to you and then go into it. Because what is this options granted, shares, what is cash settled, all this stuff I'll try to explain. But I'll just share with you that these are the things which is practically happening, and then I'll connect from the standard to this. Please look at 45 para. Number A, 45A, the entity shall disclose at least the following: a description of each type of share-based payment arrangement. Example, Infosys expanded stock ownership program 2019 plan. They give an explanation. This is as per 45A, a description of each type of share-based payment that existed, including terms and conditions, vesting. I'll explain what is meant by vesting requirement, terms of options granted, method of settlement. All these have been explained here. All this has been explained. I'll not go much detailed into this. I'll again read this after explaining what is vesting, what is stock options, what is equity settled, what is cash settled. Again, I'll come back here. I'm just giving you that practically how this is being reflected in an annual report. Now, please go to B, 45B. It says you have to also give the number and the weighted average exercise price of share options for each of the options, for each of the following group of options. That means whatever the stock option that has been allotted. Actually, in Infosys, you have two types of stock options which is running. One is a 2015 plan, another is a 2019 plan. Apart from that, you have a separate ESOP plan for the key managerial persons, KMP. For example, please look at this. For KMP, you have a separate plan. Look at this, 2015 plan. In accordance with employee agreement which has been approved by the shareholders, he was eligible to receive an annual grant of RSO of fair value 3.25 crore. I'll explain all these terms one by one. Once you understand these terms, accounting is very simple. Accounting is very simple, disclosure is very simple. Okay. So this I am just giving you a connector. Why all these are so significant? Because this has to be disclosed in your annual report like this. And please look at this. You have to give the outstanding at the beginning, opening, how much is granted, how much is forfeited. But I will not pay money to the company. I don't want to a stock option. I am happy with the salary. I will come, I will work, I take home the salary. And I have a, because I may not satisfy your 3-year criteria, I may leave the company anytime I want. I don't want your ESOP at all. I don't want to pay money also. I will only take money from the company. I will not pay money to the company. So then they are forfeiting, exercising, expired, outstanding at the end, exercisable at the end of the period. All this stuff you have to actually give. Please look at this. So this is current year 2020 and last year 2019. For plan 2015, RSU means restricted stock unit. I'll explain what is that. Beginning, granted, exercise, modification, forfeited, expired, outstanding at the end. Similarly, for 2015 plan, ESOP, 2019 RSU plan. So all this stuff you have to actually give as per para 45B. And not only that, please look at 45C. Share options exercised during the period, weighted average share price. So please look at this. During the year, the weighted average share price of options under 2015 plan on the date of exercise 751 and 701. So all these have to be actually mandatorily have to be disclosed. This is in page number 200 and this is in page number 200 and what is it? 269, and this is in 270, and this is in 271. So that is for your kind information. Before I start with the definition of share-based payment arrangement. So this is the, so first point what I'm going to take you is what is meant by share-based payment arrangement. Okay. For that, after this 52 paras, you have an appendix A, and this appendix A is nothing but definitions. And in this definitions, there are 20 definitions. And in this 20 definitions, I'm going to take you definition number 15 and 16. That definition will speak about this is share-based payment arrangement. Let us first understand this part. Please understand that before you go into this particular standard, moment you say there is a share-based payment, okay, to whom you will give, what is share-based payment, who will give, to whom it will give, how it will be given, when it will be given, what is the price, and how do you account it. So many stuff is there in this. And most important, there is a valuation part is also there. So I will tell you what it is. Number one, an agreement. Please be very clear about this part. I am starting with this term called agreement. So without an agreement between entity and another party, and who is this another party? For example, employees. For example, it can also be suppliers of goods. Vendors who are actually supplying goods. They are with you for very many years. You will tell them, see, I will not change the vendor. You have to give me the quality product. And if you sustain with us for the next same quality you are giving for the next 18 months, next 24 months. On 24th month, one bill, one invoice, we will not pay you, but instead of that, one invoice will give you shares. Very interesting. So that is share-based payment arrangement. Please understand this term that there is an agreement first. So point number one in this 102 is you can enter this particular standard only if you have an agreement. And I will give you an example first. A management committee of an entity has initiated a plan to provide stock option to its employees, but there are some terms which are yet to be finalized and the plan is not yet communicated to employee. So, but they are all only directors only discussing, can we give ESOP, can we give stock options, can we give shares, can we keep our employees happy? Oh yeah, that's a very good idea. So it is only been discussed in board meeting. Since there is no formal communication stating the terms, conditions of the agreement, it will not attract 102 provisions. The standard will be attracted only when there is a binding agreement. Okay. So, or a binding arrangement. So, this is the first point. Okay. So, let us be very clear about this, that you need to understand about India's 102. First point is there should be an agreement. And what is this agreement? Agreement between whom? Company and another party. Who is the other party? It can be an employee, because employee will give service. It can be a vendor, he will be supplying goods to you. Okay. That entitles, that agreement will say the other party, who is the other party? Employee, the vendor, entitles the other party to receive. What to receive? Cash or other assets of the entity that are based on equity instruments. This is the most important. That is why it is called share-based payments. Now, why it is called share-based payments means, please be with me for, see, you supply goods to me. You supply goods to me. Based on that, I am going to manufacture. Based on that, I am going to make a product. I am going to make my sale. Based on that, my profitability, my company prices are going to increase. So now please understand. So if you are going to be my supplier for the next 2 years with quality product, and my company turnover is going to increase, my company bottom line will increase, my company share price will increase, I will actually, please look at this, cash or other assets that are based on equity instruments. Even if I'm making a cash payments, for example, they will say, see, we are with you, why we should be with you? I am compromising my other orders and I'm giving orders to you. And you are not increasing price also, you are not giving incentives, you are not giving cash back, you are not giving kickback. Nothing you are giving, well, then why should I be with you? So that is the place where to retain the vendor, to retain the employee, I will say, don't worry, my share prices are increasing because of your supports only. If my share prices are increasing, cash or other assets of the entity for amounts that are based on, this is the base, share based payment. Payment to vendor, normally you will make a payment. Okay, due date over, take the check, transfer to bank account. All this stuff will not come under 102. But when I'm making the payment, which is based on share prices, that is where the share based payment arrangement will come. Where he will be happy, oh, because of my supply, because of my commitment, company is also able to make the churn out and they are able to push their share prices, and I will also get an appreciation. When the share price appreciates, I will get some payment. Now, how it happens? That is the next question. Okay. Or equity instruments of the entity of the entity. Good. So now this is called share-based payment arrangement. I'll give you another example for share-based payment transaction. Now, what is a share-based payment transaction? A transaction in which the entity receives goods or services in a share-based payment arrangement, incurs an obligation to settle the transaction in a share-based payment arrangement. Example I'll give you. Please look at this example. This is example. Goods or services has been received by an entity for which it has issued its own equity shares to the counterparty. Okay, who has supplied the goods either at discount or at premium. Forget about the prices. Forget about the prices. Share-based payment. For example, even I will not make the payment to my what do you say, the supplier, but I will give payment to the supplier in the form of, I will settle my supplier by issuing equity shares. These equity shares need not be, for example, the moment you say, especially it happens in what do you call it as startup companies. As startup companies, when we professionals, we actually help them, they will say, sir, we don't have money to actually pay you. We will give you equity. We will give you equity. So many of the professionals, consultants today, they are actually shareholders. Why? Because they have not got fees. The fees is in the form of shares. So goods or services has been received by an entity for which it has issued its own equity shares to the counterpart. Even software company also, they will receive the coding. They will receive the software code. Okay, the source code they will receive. They will not have money to pay to the software engineer. They'll say, see, the company is growing, we'll allot you shares. The fortune is like that. The next 5 years or 10 years, company will grow manifold, and that is the time he will actually encash it. the value of the goods received has been paid by using its own equity shares. Please look at this. Value of the goods received has been paid by using its own equity shares. But if the fair value of the goods received are more or less than the value of the share issued by an entity, then some unidentified goods or services will be received or have been received. Hence, Ind AS 102 will still be applicable for such unidentified goods or services. This is with respect to the appreciation part of it. Okay. Now, an entity issuing its own shares for a charity without any consideration will also be covered under 102. Okay. So, you want to, I will not pay you money. You are, sir, give me 10 lakh rupees as charity. I will not pay you money. I will allot shares. My company shares will appreciate. You sell the shares and take money out of it. So, entity issuing its own shares. So, that also will come under 102. So, very interesting. Now, please look at one more example. Now, why I am giving this example? Because sometimes, please look at the goods or services from a supplier of those goods or services, including an employee in a share-based arrangement, or incurs an obligation to settle the transaction with the supplier in a share-based arrangements. Okay, when another group entity receives those goods, for example, my subsidiary will be receiving the goods, holding company will be issuing the equity. Now, rather than I give money to subsidiary and subsidiary makes the payment, or directly I will make payment to the supplier, I don't have money to pay supplier. Neither I don't have money to give money to my subsidiary, nor to the supplier. So directly I will surrender to the supplier. Supplier, I don't have money, but I will give equity. So here, share-based payment transaction, my supplier or my group entity supplier also, I will settle with the equity. That also will cover under 102. So that is what the next example. A parent issues share options to the employee of its subsidiary company, or a subsidiary company issues share options to its employee based on the price of the equity shares of its parent company. Both the plans are covered under 102. So please be very careful about it. But understand one thing which is not included in 102. What is that? For example, there is an employee who is already a shareholder for whom you are actually going to allot further shares. Like for example, right issue. Will that come under 102? No, that will not come under 102 because he is not an employee, not for services you are allotting. Because he is a shareholder, incidentally he is an employee, he is also a shareholder and you are allotting shares because he is a shareholder, not because he is an employee. And he is not, that share is not allotted in exchange for goods or services. It is not for his service. It is because of the right he claims because being a shareholder, not being an employee. So then 102 is not applicable. So please be careful about the applicability. Check. So now I have explained to you two things. What is meant by share-based payment and what is meant by share-based payment arrangement, share-based payment transaction. So share-based payment transaction will have a share-based payment arrangement for allotment of shares. Now coming for very, very important. I'm just going into the types of the settlement. How it will be settled? It will be settled equity, it will be settled cash, it will be settled part equity, part cash also. Oh, then how to actually do the recognition, how the transaction has to be recognized, how it should be brought into books or accounts, what will be charged to P&L account, all this stuff. So now I am going into the accounting part. So now we have understood, I'm going into the accounting part. So please look at, okay. So this part is over, disclosure is over, share-based payment arrangement over, transaction over. Now I'm taking you to very important point. Please look at this. The scope part. Para number 2. Of course, para number 2, what will not be applicable, I have already explained in detail. Now, I'm going to explain. This is the part I'm going to explain. Please look at this. Scope. An entity grants 10 shares to its employees who will remain in service for next 2 years. Wow. This will be covered within the standard. Now, whether it is equity settled or cash settled, I'll explain. What is the two types of share-based payment. One is equity settled share-based payment. Another cash settled share-based payment. Very simple. So I will make payment through payment by cash, but it is connected to equity. How? So that is where the catch is. Second example. So first example, 10 shares to its employees will remain in service for next 2 years. Is it covered under the share-based payments? Yes. An entity grants 1,000 rupees to each employee, which is based on its current equity price. This will not be covered under 102 as the amount of 1,000 is fixed now and it will be paid to employee even if the market rate of the share goes up or down from the current level. Okay, because it's crystallized. That's all. So share based means when it moves up or down, When it moves up, your liability will go up. If your liability goes up, debit P&L account. When it moves down, your liability goes down. If your liability goes down, your payoff is reduced. If your payoff is reduced, P&L credit. This is the next one. I'll come to that. So if it is not connected with that and you have crystallized the liability, then where is the question of 102? Okay, it is actually a liability. It is an expense. An entity received services from a party because share-based payment, you will actually create a liability. Okay, you will actually create a liability and you will find out that whether the movement of the liability every year end and how you have to recognize that movement of liability in your books or accounts, because it should be current price. It should be current price. Okay, but when you have fixed it, 102 not applicable. An entity receives services from a party who is acting as shareholder will not be covered under this standard. However, an employee who receives additional payment from the entity for providing services other than its normal employment will be covered under this standard. An entity has agreed to provide bonus to his employee purely based on share price of the entity. Since the benefit is in reference to share price, covered under 102. So please be very clear about the scope, which will come, which will not come. Okay. Now going into the equity settled and cash settled. What is equity settled? What is cash settled? We have very little time, so I will try to actually explain with the example. Okay, please look at example, and I'm going to explain this concept called grant date, vesting date, and exercise date also during my explanation. Okay, now please look at this example. Okay, so para number 10 to this is para number 10. What is equity settled share-based payment transaction? Good. For equity settled, the word itself says, I will not make even a single paisa payment. For example, goods is received from supplier. Okay. He is giving a GST bill. I have to make payment by 60 days. I will tell him, see, I will not settle you the bill by cash. I will only settle your bill based on my equity. Okay, so please look at this. For equity settled share-based payment, because it is future settlement. 60 days later, 3 months later, 6 months later, I am going to make payment. Or there will be an agreement. What is the agreement? See, I don't have money to pay. What do you do? For the next 2 years, you make supply. I will accumulate it. And whatever is the liability, I will allot you shares at a particular rate. How do you value? That is what it is. Please look at this. Para is very important. After that, I am going to explain a question. For equity settled share-based payment, the entity shall measure. Please, how it will measure? The goods they will measure. And the corresponding increase in equity directly at the fair value of the goods. So, for example, one of the supplier is saying, sir, every 3 months I will supply you material, raw material worth 40 lakhs. 40 lakhs first quarter, second quarter 40 lakhs, third quarter 40 lakhs, fourth quarter 40 lakhs. 40 into 4, 1.6 crore. Good. So 1.6 crore is the fair value. Now for 1.6 crore, I have to allot them shares. Okay. So now sometimes you can't say that no goods cannot be measured at fair value because invoice will be there. If invoice will be there, it is rebuttable. It is non-rebuttable. You cannot deny. How can you say the goods and services is not fair value, you cannot measure? Because invoice will be there. Because the guy who is going to give the goods or guy who is going to provide the service, he is going to invoice you. So the value will be known. If the entity cannot estimate reliably the fair value of the goods or services, this will happen with employees or some partner. He'll say, see, You also want to grow, I also want to grow. You give me a software coding. Software coding, he will break his mind and head and he will give the code. Based on that, I'll do business. Now he has to raise a bill. How much? He also doesn't know. So he says, I don't know how much I have to raise. Because that is actually, he would have sold it for 45 lakhs. For him, the cost may not be even 40,000. So will he raise that cost? So that is a place where it is very, very interesting. If the entity cannot reliably estimate the fair value, then how do I measure? The entity shall measure their value. Okay, what is it? The service value and the corresponding increase in equity indirectly with reference to the fair value of the equity granted. So I'm going to grant. Now I'm coming with the term called grant. What is granted? Equity is granted. On what date? On a particular date. That date is called grant date. That date is called grant date. Now, where is it explained? So that grant date is explained to you in the definition part, and that is what I'm going to. And this is grant date. The date at which the entity and the another party agree to a share-based payment. Yes, that is called grant date. And what is called vesting date? For example, employee, you be with me for the next 2 years. You be with me for the next 2 years. This 2-year period is called as vesting period. Condition. It's called the specified vesting condition. It's called a vesting period. You be with me for the next 2 years. Now, once this 2-year period is over, after that, I will allot the shares. Either I will allot shares or ESOP. You buy shares from me by paying the money, because anyhow the fair value market value is going to be very high. So that is why this period is called as the exercise period. And this will be the last date to exercise. So not the particular date you will exercise. I'll give you a period. There will be so many employees will be there, 400 employees will be there, managing 400 employees ESOP, you have to give them a window time. So that window time is this. Okay, vesting date to exercise date. So this 2 years he has to cross. That milestone he has to cross. Only when the milestone is crossed, he is eligible. Okay, specified vesting condition. Now, extension under all those stuff I'll speak later. Okay, good. Now please look at this question. So this is called as equity settled. Now I'm going to do one example quickly, guys, very quickly. Equity settled. I will go up to 115, not more than that, because I got my session at 12:15. I will be taking exactly 16 minutes. So I'll go up to 115, and after that, all of you can have your wonderful lunch, Sunday lunch at home. Okay. So illustration 1. Equity settled share-based payment. Service conditions. For services, it is given. For example, there is a company called ABC granted to its employees share options with a fair value of 5 lakhs on 1st April 20, say 2010. If they remain in the organization up to 31st March 2013, okay, 2020 to 2023, let us take. So that means 2021, 2022, 2023. So that means 3 years he should be there. So ABC Limited granted, so offered share options. So that means there is an agreement, arrangement with a fair value of 5 lakhs. Okay. On 31st March 2021, the ABC Limited expects only 91% employees to remain in employment. That means they are not satisfying. Only if they are in 3 years, they will satisfy the conditions. They will satisfy the conditions. The concept of these conditions are given in page number, in para number 19. Okay, in para number 19. Please look at para number 19. What is para 19? Vesting conditions shall not be, okay, sorry. A grant of equity instruments might be conditional upon satisfying certain vesting conditions. What is the vesting condition? A grant of shares. Shares, I will do one question. Share option also I will do one question. Okay, share is different. Share option is different. Share means straight away allot shares. Share option means he has to exercise an option and pay money and get the shares. So that is the difference between shares and share option. Share straight away allot shares. It is equivalent to an employee benefit. Share options, he has to exercise, collect the money, I have to allot. But it will be at a concessional rate only. That is share options. So a grant of shares to an employee is typically conditional on the employee remaining in the entity's employment for a specified period of time. So be with me for 3 years. So that is the condition. Okay, so that is your condition here. So if they remain in the organization up to 31st March 2023, on 31st March 2021, only 91% remain in employee. Now, what happened to 9%? If 9% they are leaving the organization, their condition, their vesting conditions is not satisfied. The vesting condition is not satisfied. Will I allot shares to them? No. If I'm not allotting shares to them. Please remember, employee benefit is a liability. So I will not recognize liability for 9%. I will only recognize liability for 91%. So that is being given again in para number 19. Please look at para 19. Para 19. Please look at last para. Hence, on a cumulative basis, no amount is recognized for goods or services received in the equity instruments granted do not vest because of failure to satisfy vesting condition. Okay. For example, counterparty fails to complete a specified service period. Okay. So here in this case 9% failed. So 9% I will not recognize. Only 91% I will recognize as a liability. But 31st March 2022, company expects only 89% to remain in employment. So 11% I will not recognize. Okay. So first year end 9%, 91% recognize liability. Second year end 89% only I will recognize liability. And however, third year end 82% only remain in organization. That means 82% I have to actually satisfy my liability. 18% I need not satisfy. So slowly. Now please look at this solution. Very, very important. How much I have to pay? 5 lakhs. Out of 5 lakhs, 1/3 I will recognize because 1/3 period is crossed. So 1/3 liability I will recognize in books of accounts. So as you go, 3 years I have to pay 5 lakhs. Once 3 years is crossed, I have to pay 5 lakhs shares to that employee or a group of employees. Now that 5 lakhs I have to recognize in books of accounts. Will you recognize on day one? No. As he satisfies the service, as he completes the service, I will recognize the liability, current cost. So out of 5 lakh, only 1/3 I will recognize liability. But guys, out of 5 lakhs, 1/3 is how much? 1,66,666. Should I have to recognize liability? No, but out of 9% I already left. So minus 9%, I will take only 91% of 1,66,666, which is 1,51,667. That only I recognize as a liability. Please look at the 31st March 2021 employee benefit expenses debit P&L account, credit share-based payment reserve equity because I'm going to allot equity. Okay, 1/3. So that is 1,51,667. Second year end, that is 31st March 2022. Of 5 lakhs, out of 5 lakhs, guys, out of 5 lakhs, use your calculator into 2/3 because out of 3 years, 2 years is over. So 5 lakhs into 2 divided by 3, which is 3,33,333 should be your liability. But how many people are there? That is 100%. But how many people are retained? Only 89%. So what is 89% of 3,33,333? It is 2,96,667. Already you have actually created a liability of 151 last year. So minus 151,667 out of 296,667. 1,45,000 you will create a liability for second year. So second year, debit employee benefit expenses P&L account, it will be charged to P&L, credit the liability, which will be share-based payment reserve. Now, if it is a cash settled share-based payment, equity settled share-based payment. If it is equity settled share-based payment, you will credit share-based payment equity, share-based payment reserve equity. From that you will transfer to equity after 3 years because you have to allot shares. Now look at third year. On 5 lakhs, directly 82% will be 4,10,000. But out of 4,10,000, you have already created a reserve of, you have already created a liability of 296,667. Okay. So 4,10,000 minus 296,667 will become 1,13,333. So that is the liability I will create. So 1,13,333 and credit share-based payment reserve. So add all these three, you will get 4,10,000 and already 410 has been charged off to revenue over a period of 3 years and debit your share-based payment reserve, cancel it and credit your share capital by allotting shares. This is for allotment of shares because 3 years is over, you have to allot shares. So this is your equity settled share-based payment. Now, already 1 o'clock is over. Last 15 minutes is there. I am now taking you to the cash settled share-based transaction. Okay. Now, let me take you to cash settled. But the cash settled, I am not paying cash. Please remember, very important. It is para number 20. Sorry, para number 30. Para number 30 to 33. That is with respect to cash settled share-based payment. But I want to make one point very important here. In cash settled share-based, it is share-based. Please understand. So that means I have availed services from employees. I have availed services from my I have taken goods from the suppliers. I am going to allot shares? No. I will not allot shares. I will only pay cash. I will only pay cash. So if I have to pay, but cash payment will be connected to share. Will be connected to shares. That is why you need to understand share appreciation, stock appreciation rights. So this is an example of stock appreciation rights. Please look at para 31. It says, for example, an entity might grant share appreciation rights to employees as part of a remuneration package. Now, what is share appreciation rights? SAR. SAR is forming part of your SEBI guidelines. Just now I gave that SEBI guideline. What is SEBI guideline? The share-based employee benefits. Share-based employee benefits SEBI guidelines, which was issued on 28th of October 2014. There they defined section 2 with subsection 1 ZE. They define stock appreciation rights. The right given to a SAR grantee. Who is a SAR grantee? An employee to whom SAR is granted. What is SAR? SAR price means the base price. So that base price has to be calculated, has to be valued. So stock appreciation right means the right given to a SAR grantee, which is an employee, entitling him. What is entitled? To receive appreciation. Please look at this word. There he is allotted shares. Here he will receive only appreciation for a specified number of shares of the company, where the settlement of such appreciation may be made by cash or shares. May be made by cash, then it is called cash settled. Or shares, then there is one more topic I will be discussing in 34 called share-based payment with cash alternative. So he has to decide. No, I will take cash. No, I will take equity. No, part I will take cash and part I will take equity. That is para 34. Okay, so please look at this. So now stock appreciation rights. That is explained in para 31 with example. I will not directly go to the example. Please look at the example. XYZ issued 10,000 SAR. That vests immediately to its employee on 1st April. Okay. But SAR will be settled in cash. Wow. That means connected, equity connected. How? Using an option pricing model, I will actually do the valuation of the share on a particular exercise date. At that date, it is estimated that fair value of share is 95 when 1st April 20. Okay. And fair value at 95, 100% vested. Now, how many, what is the fair value 95? So 95 into 10,000, 9,50,000 at 100%. Okay. So let me actually, so this is your 9,50,000. Now please look here. So SAR can be exercised anytime up to 31st March 2023. At the end of the period on 31st March, it is expected that 95% of the total employees will exercise the option. So, and remember guys, once I allot a share appreciation right, immediately you cannot say, no, give me my money. No. You have to work with me for the next 3 years. Only at the end of 3rd year only I will actually make the payment. And that will be connected to shares. Because you are working with me, you give your service, my company also grows, the fair value also grows. Now what is the fair value as on 31st March? 112. 112 into, please look at this guys. So fair value is 112 into 10,000. Okay, into 10,000. That becomes 11,20,000. But 11,20,000, only how many people are retained? Only 95%. So what is 95% of 11,12,000? It is 10,64. Okay. And out of 10,64, already 9,50,000 expensed and 1,14,000 for the second year. Now please look at the, so on 1st April, please look at 1st April, the vest immediately to its employees. The moment the agreement is signed, the vest immediately to its employees on 1st April, the SAR will be settled in cash. Please remember, the SARs will be settled in cash using an option pricing model. But they are settled in cash over a period of time. So therefore, please look at this. This word will vest immediately to its employees. That is why I am recognizing 9.5 lakhs immediately as an expense. Okay. If the word vest immediately is not there, I will not recognize this. The entire question will be different. The entire situation will be different. Okay. Good. So now I will only recognize 10,64,000, only 10,64,000 at the end of the year, not 9,50,000 at the beginning of the year. Okay, that is the only difference. The word vesting is not there, vest immediately. So at the end of the year, I have to recognize a liability of 10,64,000. So therefore, 1,14,000 I will recognize a liability, employee benefit. So debit, employee benefit, credit. Now here in the previous case, I have credited what? I have credited equity. Please look at this question. What I have credited? I have credited share-based payment reserve equity. But here, I will not credit share-based payment reserve equity. I will credit share-based payment liability because this will be in my current liability. This will be in my, what do you call it as your current liability, current asset. So it will be in my current liability. So share-based payment liability, 950 created liability at the beginning, 114 created the liability at the end of the first year. Second year, out of 95%, 92% only will be exercising the option. And what is the value? 109. So 109 into 10,000, which is 10,90,000 on the 92% is 10,02,800. My God, from 10,64,000 and it has reduced to 10,02,800. Wow. So 10,02,800 minus 10,64,000. Okay. So what I will do, I will reverse 61,200 from my share-based liability. So I will debit share-based liability, credit employee benefit expenses, which will be credited because I have overcharged my P&L in my last year. So I am reversing 61,200. Okay. That much liability I need not pay. I need to have a liability only 10,02,800 because 8% I've got. Okay, 8% I've got. At the end of third year, finally 89% only will be based on the end of third year. At that time, the pricing is 114. How 114 will come? 114 will come based on the option pricing model. An option pricing model is discussed in the 102 Appendix B. In 102 Appendix B, application guidance. In 102 Appendix B, application guidance, which is forming, and this is application guidance. This is 102 share-based payments, Appendix B, application guidance. In that, how to estimate the fair value equity instruments. Okay, they have given in B5. Please look at B5. Okay, these factors should be considered in estimating the granted date fair value of the option. This might preclude the use of Black-Scholes-Merton formula. So I will be using Black-Scholes-Merton formula. Okay, and using these what do you call attributes: exercise price, life of the option, current price, volatility, dividend expected, risk-free interest rate. So there is a separate valuation model I will apply. Based on that only, this 114 has been brought down. How from these three numbers, from where I have got it? And that is why auditors in their auditors report, they will actually make one observation. Okay, what is the observation they will make? These calculations we were not in a position to actually verify because it is only based on estimate. It is purely based on estimate. So 114. So what is 10,000 into 114, which is 11,40,000. 11,40,000 into 89%. That is your net liability, which is 10,14,600. 10,14,600. So from 10,02,800 to 10,02,800 to 10,14,600, 11,800 liability only will be created 31st March. And at the end of the year, you have a share-based payment liability of 11,000 or 10,14,600, which will be paid by cash or bank to the entire employees. So this is how the cash settled share-based payment service conditions will be done. Now, it's almost 1:11, guys. So I'm sure I have done a good number of coverage with respect to Ind AS 102. I also assure you one more thing, that this entire material will be available. Of course, the entire examples I have given for each and every paragraph. This will be uploaded in my blog. I'm sure all of you know what my blog is. In my blog, in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I will upload it, which is 3spro.blogspot.com. In PDF form, it will be available. All of you can go and download it. And any questions on Ind AS 102, I'll be very happy to actually take up. Maybe through the chairman of Corporate Law Committee, CMA Dr. Ashish Tate ji, through him I'll try to get some questions. Hope if you have put your questions in the Q&A sections, I'll be happy to actually take those questions. So with this, I thank each and every one of you for being part of today's program, and special thanks to the entire team at the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, CMA Ashish Tate ji, CMA Padmanabhan ji, Vice President Raju Iyer ji, as well as President CMA Biswarup Basu ji. So thank you very much, and over to Padmanabhan ji.
Thank you so much, GKR Bhai, Dr. GKR sir. Now, if you permit, we will conclude soon, and we hope that our chief guest, Honorable CMA CS Jay Prakash sir, will join us in some other session very quickly. So, just before wind up, sir, questions, if you permit, GKR sir, I would like to, because one Anil Domne from Pune, that our very good respectable member is, when you begin the session itself, he was asking a doubt, sir. If rights issue are issued after the exercise period, but before the employee takes the option, will he be entitled to the rights issue? And if so, at what price, sir? He is asking.
No, can you repeat the question, sir?
If the rights issues are there, rights
yeah, I got the question, but can you repeat once again for the benefit?
If rights issues are issued after the exercising period, but before the employee could not take that option, that rights issue, okay, will he be entitled to that right issue?
No, definitely no.
No. Then the next question has no relevance. Na? At what price? When you are not eligible, price doesn't come, right? Super, sir. This is the one pertinent question which I felt today to be this thing. Otherwise, some of our friends say, yes, you all are demanding a beautiful presentation. We want a PPT. Again, I am repeating on behalf of GKR, sir. I will request GKR Bhai to kindly share his blog. Slowly you tell your blog, please.
Sir, it is 3spro.blogspot.com. So it will be uploaded.
3 means that 1, 2, 3 na, or triple S? 3. 3S.
Pro.blogspot.com.
Yes. And one more thing, dear and respected members, students and friends, immediately after this session, maybe before tonight or tomorrow morning, it will get uploaded in our institute website in YouTube. In institute website, recorded session, and in YouTube. And how you can get it from YouTube? You open the institute website www.icmai.in, and on the top you can see Twitter and YouTube, that symbol icon, right? So if you press that YouTube, you can find all the videos so far Webint organized by the institute. A button, when you see, you can see videos. If you click that, till date, whichever Webint we have organized, it will be there. So you have to click that YouTube icon. Then that video, it will show, first it will show the latest Webint updates. This today's session will come on the latest this thing, tonight or tomorrow morning. Then Next one button is there, videos. If you click that, you can have the entire videos of any this thing organized by our institute, right? So GKR bhai, with your permission, our Dr. Ashish Tatte bhai, Chairman Corporate Laws Committee, would you like to say any word, Ashish bhai? You can unmute your mic and tell if you want.
No, thank you to all of us. Nothing else, Papan bhai. Thank you to all.
Okay.
Thank you
So
to GKR especially.
Yeah, Biswarup Dada, Honorable President, if you would like to say. Okay, he is also thanking. Okay, GKR bhai, many thanks once again to you, and we will meet next week with another CFO. Again another dynamic personality, and definitely, my dear friends, today because Jayaprakash sir has to attend to hospital, definitely we will see that he is again given an opportunity, and we will be very blessed by his presence. Otherwise, Ashish Tatte sir, JKR sir, they had discussion. Each Sunday 12 noon we will have program, and till such time and relevant to that particular Ind AS, that particular CFO or top person of the company will be with us. So with this, officially, I request Pardeep Kaneja bhai, the Deputy Director of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India and handling MARF as well as Accounting Technician Committee. I request Pardeep bhai to kindly thank from your heart of heart. Over to you, Pardeep sir.
Thank you, Padmanabhan sir, for giving me this opportunity, and it is my honor and pleasure to have the opportunity to thank Dr. Gopala Krishna Raju sir. GK sir, indeed it was a truly knowledgeable and nice program. You explained very nicely with the relevant practical examples, and I hope all the participants will be benefited with the knowledge you have shared with your deliberations on Ind AS 102 share-based payment. Thank you, sir, for accepting our request and for being with us. We hope that in the future you will also be share your knowledge to on Ind AS accounting center and other topics also. Thank you, sir, for being with us. And on behalf of Institute of Cost Accountants of India, I would also like to gracefully thankful to our Honorable President CMA Biswarup Basu sir, and also thankful to our Vice President CMA P. Raju Iyer sir, and I am also thankful to CMA Ashish P. Tatte sir, Council Member and Chairman Corporate Law Committee. I am thankful to CMA H. Padmanabhan sir, Council Member and Chairman CAT Committee, and also I am thankful to our IT team, our IT HOD Ashish Tiwari sir and IT Assistant Director Mohan Mishra sir. And finally, I am thankful to all the participants who are available with us throughout the program. And I hope that definitely our participants have gained knowledge throughout this program and are able to use this knowledge in their work profiles. Thank you for all being with us. And with this playing Institute anthem, we'll conclude this program. Thank you very much.
Yes, and also you are benefiting a lot, Pardeep bhai, being in MARF with Buddhiraja sir and others in the team. I think all our institute employees are also benefiting a lot from Gopala Krishna Raju sir, this wonderful presentation. Kindly play the institute anthem. Yes.
सद्गमया तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमया मृत्युर्मामृतं गमया मा सद्गमया तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमया मृत्युर्मामृतं गमया असतो मा सद्गमया तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमया मृत्युर्मामृतं गमया ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति.
Thank you once again. Everybody stay safe, stay blessed, and definitely Institute is with each and every one of you. Thank you very much. Catch you again later.